Just seeing them grow from the start, confidence growing and their techniques improving, would never ever take them somewhere else because he is just perfect.
I have 2 girls at AFAC, and we've been coming since it started at the beginning of 2019. They feel safe, and I think they feel encouraged as well.
I like my teachers, and they always encourage me when I need encouraging, and they make it really fun for me and the rest of my class. I feel very proud and happy and excited to meet my new teacher.
Noah finds motor planning and things like that difficult. You know, he tends to get that same teacher, so they definitely know what works for Noah, what to kind of keep going with, how we can kind of achieve the next thing. So it's really quite consistent and valuable.
It's really good, nice quality time spent with the grandies, and it's a great centre for families as well. She may have got a lot older, but never miss out on the green jelly after the swimming lesson, so that's always a given.
I wouldn't be driving 25 minutes past 2 swim schools to come if I didn't enjoy it.
The kids just enjoy too much here and love all the teachers, so why move them somewhere else?
Thank you everyone, and welcome to the City of Armidale's Council meeting. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we meet on Whadjuk Noongar land and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'll declare the meeting open at, let me see what the time is, 7 o'clock. And note that we have members of the public here, and we have the officer in charge of the Armidale Police Station. So welcome along, Paul. Thanks for being here. We do have an apology from Councillor Camdale, and thank you to all the other councillors who are here tonight, and executive directors, and welcome back to our CEO, Joanne Abbas. We have now, next one, advice of response to previous public questions taken on notice. There aren't any. Public question time. Now to come to public question time. If you would like to ask a question, if you'd like to step forward to the microphone and perhaps give your first name, and have you written your question or your name somewhere for, yeah, thank you very much. Excellent. If you'd like to ask a question, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, councillors, and thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. My name is Daniel Newman. I'm asking some questions on behalf of the Royal Association of Justices. at item 2.1 of the Community Services report on page 30 of the OCM, if you're interested. The Association is seeking Council's consideration for a modest exemption to the for the higher fees to facilitate a quarterly meeting to be held here in the City of Armidale. Firstly, I'm very disappointed in this situation, and I'd like to thank Councillor Mosey for his courage and common sense in approaching this item and voting against the officer's recommendation in the committee meeting. All Justices of the Peace are volunteers. They're appointed by the Governor.
I will just stop you there and say this is question time,
Yes.
not statement
I had
time.
asked to make a deputation, but I am just doing a quick preamble to my question. All JPs are volunteers. They're appointed by the Governor and provide an essential community service. JPs are legally prohibited from charging a fee for their service. They cannot fundraise. So all associated costs are a further personal
And I'm going to stop you
donation.
there. We do have all of this information in our report, and I'll just request that you come to your question, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I read the report in detail. It did not include that information. What I would like to ask is, why does the Council provide free meeting venues to sports clubs and residents associations, but they won't provide them to a volunteer justice organisation who provide a free service for the City of Armidale?
Thank you for your question. We haven't made a decision tonight, so we're comparing something and something. So,
All right, respectfully, we would like to request that option 2 of the officer's recommendation on page 34 is recommended and supported by the Council. If the Council is unable to support this request, would you consider an annual discrete cash grant to the association of an equivalent value?
that may be considered. That will be debated or spoken about, and it may have been raised at the committee meeting. I'm not sure.
Great. All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you very much.
Are there any further questions? No further questions. Thank you. I will take that as the end of public question time and move on to applications of leave of absence, where we have one application for leave of absence from Councillor Paul Hetherington. And we have the dates of Monday the 23rd of June 2025 to Friday the 27th of June. This includes one OCM on the 23rd of June. So could I have someone move that we approve that leave of absence, please? Councillor Hancock, thank you. Is there anyone opposed? No one opposed, thank you, that's carried. We'll move on to petitions. Are there any petitions for presentation tonight? If there's no petitions, we'll move on. Confirmation of minutes. Is someone prepared to confirm that the minutes attached to this agenda represent a true and correct record? Councillor Sargison, thank you very much. Is there anyone opposed? No one opposed? Thank you, that's carried. Announcements by the person presiding. We do have quite a long meeting tonight, as we've got 4 committee meeting agendas to get through, so I won't read out or describe any of those activities that I've been to. Let you councillors do that at your leisure. So now we'll go on to questions by members of which due notice have been given without discussion. There aren't any. Now 10, reports. Technical Services Committee meeting, which begins on... Ooh, there we go. Chair, are you prepared to move receipt of the minutes of the Tech Services meeting?
Happy to move the minutes of the Technical Services Committee held on Monday 7th of April, subject to any corrections, which I have none.
Thank you. The Chair has moved. Are there any corrections?
Just one. I tried to get your attention a few moments ago with regard to the 3rd of April and the ceremonies for the citizens' ceremonies. I also attended that. My name's not there.
We'll get that corrected in the record. Thank you. So that was the last item, isn't it? So we've moved on to the Technical Services meeting. So are there any corrections to that? Councillor Sargison, could you pop your mic off, please?
Apologies.
Thank you.
Mine's a
Councillor Mosey?
question and then potentially a correction. At page 21, it only talks about the final agreed recommendation. Is that the case? Is that how we do it when it's a confidential item? We don't capture details of a defeated earlier motion?
Sorry, through the chair, the debate that if it was confidential would not be included.
I understand the debate wouldn't, but the result of the vote would also not be included?
Through the chair, I wasn't present at that particular meeting, so I'm not aware of the debate that occurred behind closed doors. I might defer to the Executive Director of Corporate Services.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be included in the cover report which refers to the recommendation, but in the confidential attachment was to be as part of the recording of the business. So the recommendation in the cover report is just a reference to the actual business of the committee, which is in the confidential attachment.
Thank you. If there's no further questions, we will move on to if there's anyone opposed to accepting those minutes. No one opposed? Thank you. That's carried. We move into the agenda proper, which begins on page 13. 3.1, cost feasibility for Bedfordale CWA Anzac Day Monument referral item. And the item ends on with a recommendation also on page 13. Page 14, 1.1, Acrod Parking Bays, Commerce Avenue and Green Avenue, Armidale. With the recommendation coming on page 17. Page 18, 3.2, live bin audit and community engagement referral item. With the recommendation on the bottom of page 18. Page 19, 3.3, waste avoidance education referral item, with the recommendation on the bottom of page 19. Page 20, 2.1, tender number 2724, Parks Landscape Maintenance, with the recommendation on page 21.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, that's a confidential item. Can we take that to the confidential section, please, so we can discuss it?
Yes, we can. Because you want to refer to the confidential attachment, yes? Okay, so I will move that item to the end. Thank you. Chair, are you prepared to move all the items which have not already been dealt with?
Yep, so moved, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Is there anyone opposed? No one opposed. Thank you. That's carried. We move now to the Community Services Committee minutes. Is the Chair prepared to move receipt of those minutes?
I'd like to move the Community Services meeting minutes held on the 8th of April, subject to any corrections, which I have none.
Thank you. Chair has moved receipt. Is there anyone opposed? No one opposed. Thank you. That's carried. First item, 1.1, Reconciliation Action Plan, Annual Progress Report, with the recommendation on page 29. Page 30, 2.1, Waiver of Fees, Royal Association of Justices, Armidale and South East Districts Branch. Councillor Peter.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I need to declare a financial industry subject, and I am a member of the association, and I would like to leave the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I also got the financial conflict of interest. I would like to.
Thank you. Councillor Peter and Councillor Joy have declared financial interests and have left the chamber. Could I ask someone to shut the door? Thank you. So we're dealing with 2.1, Waiver of Fees for the Royal Association of Justices. And the recommendation comes on page 34. Councillor Mosey.
I'd like to move an alternate recommendation, please. And that is option 2.
Thank you. Councillor Mosey has moved option 2. Do I have anyone opposed? Councillor Busby. Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Sargison, you can second. Thank you. I saw you first. Councillor Mosey, would you like to speak?
Yeah, I would, thank you. We already heard through the questions from the public that this is a service for our community that the justices provide. We're not talking about a big amount of money here that we would need to waive to support them in supporting our community. As we also heard through the question, we do this for other community groups, not-for-profit community groups. These guys are actually prohibited by law from charging for their services. I don't think it's a big ask for us to support them. For those councillors worried about precedent, I don't think that we should be worrying about that. We should be judging every item on its merits, and I think this one on its merits and the service that they provide our community clearly means that we should be supporting them via waiving this very moderate fee.
Thank you, Councillor Mosey. Councillor Sargison, would you like to speak?
Not really. I think everything that's been discussed has been discussed at the committee meeting, and I don't see the necessity of going against what has been decided. There's nothing further to be gained apart from giving free accommodation, so to speak. It's just not necessary.
Thank you, Councillor Sargison. Councillor Busby, would you like to speak?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, I appreciate, and I can't turn to you because I'm addressing the Mayor. Look, I appreciate all that JPs do. I'm sure many people have had a signature from a JP. But unfortunately, I'm also aware of many community groups that do serve the City of Armidale, help us, whether it's council, whether it's mental health stuff, all through it. Our Champion Centre, you know, they have places where people work in the community and they still pay fees and they are involved and stuff. All through the City of Armidale, we've got so many very, very worthwhile community groups and organisations that we would love if we could to give free leases all over the place. But we can't and we don't. And I do disagree with Councillor Mosey in the sense that we should look at precedences, because it's really important as a council and local government what precedents we do set, because it will follow on. And even though I believe what they do is very valuable and I appreciate what they do, unfortunately, I believe that we're not really in a place to be offering that to all the community groups that ask for it and whatever. So I'm disappointed to say we need to set this, and that's why I'm not supporting it, and I think they can pay for it. Sorry.
Thank you, Councillor Busby. Would anyone like to speak against Councillor Mosey's item? Change? Oh, sorry, it should have been 4. CEO's whispering. Councillor Keogh.
Thanks, Mayor. In reflection, I think considering it isn't a massive financial burden, I don't think it's too onerous for us to perhaps reconsider this. My only reservation would be that maybe rather than having it for waiving of the fees for the next 5 years, maybe make it 2 or 3 to allow us to reconsider this at an earlier date. So that would be perhaps a suggestion I would make, maybe if Councillor Mosey would be open to changing that time frame. But other than that, I think it's something that perhaps we could be using this as a way to show that we value the work of JPs in our community, and also recognising that they do a wide range of services in their work as a JP that affects a broad spectrum of our community. So that would be why I'd be to reconsider this motion that's currently there as a recommendation to the alternate one suggested by Councillor Mosey.
Thank you, Councillor Keogh. Is there anyone to speak against the motion? Anyone to speak for the motion? If not, we're all wrapped up. Councillor Mosey, would you like to wrap up your debate?
Could I first ask a question? Is it all right? Can I change that that option 2 now, or as suggested by Councillor Keogh, or not?
Yep. Look, we've been through the debate, so it doesn't allow anyone to debate. If this, you could foreshadow something if you wanted to, or actually you've already. Yeah, you can't. No, you can't. The answer is in short. Would you like to wrap up anyway?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I would have been happy to take on that suggestion. I still think, even with the 5 years at $160 a year, it is not a massive financial burden, given the budget that we've just been recently considering, and the multi-millions of dollars that we're talking about. $160 a year is not a huge amount, like I said, for the amazing work that these guys do, and us showing a really strong signal and message, sending that to them and our community that we support it and value it. So I would urge you to support this alternate motion.
Thank you, Councillor Mosey. I will put it to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Thank you. The motion is lost. I'll ask the chair to moving the original motion.
Yes, I would like to move the original recommendation as it stands.
Thank you very much. Could I ask if anyone's opposed? Yeah, okay, Councillor Mosey is opposed. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Busby, thank you. Councillor Silver, would you like to speak?
No, I think the debate's been had. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Busby, would you like to speak? Councillor Mosey, would you like to speak?
No, I agree. The debate's been had. Thanks.
Thank you. If there was anyone else that would like to speak for or against at this stage? No one? I'll put it to the vote then. All those in favour? All those against? Thank you. The motion is 1. And we can invite our councillors back in from outside. Thank you, councillors. Thank you. We'll move on. Page 35. We have a couple of councillors' items there. And that brings us to the end of the Community Services Committee meeting minutes. Is the Chair prepared to move all those items which have not already been dealt with?
So moved.
Thank you. Chair has moved. Is there anyone opposed? No one opposed. Thank you. That's carried. We come to the Development Services Committee meeting held on the 14th of April. Is Dr Willinger, Chair, willing to move those minutes?
Yes, please, subject to any corrections of which I have none.
Thank you. Chair has moved. Is there anyone opposed? No one opposed. Thank you. That's carried. Move on into the agenda itself. Page 40. 1.1, Outcome of Development WA's major review of the Wollongong Urban Water Development Contribution Plan. That is another confidential item. Does anyone need to refer this to the end of the agenda for looking at review? If not, we can deal with the item now then. All right, well, we'll go to the next item then. Page 42. 2.1, Review of Delegations for Public Building Act 2011, Food Act 2008 and Public Health Act 2016 functions. With the recommendation coming on page 47. This one does require an absolute majority, so is the Chair prepared to move?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there anyone opposed? Thank you. That's carried and an absolute majority has been reached. Chair, are you prepared to move the other item on this agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there anyone opposed? If no one's opposed, thank you. That's carried and we've finished that agenda. Now we come to Corporate Services Committee meeting held on the 15th of April also. No, different day. Sorry. Is the Chair prepared to move receipt of the minutes?
Yes, I would like to move receipt of those minutes of our Corporate Services Committee meeting held Tuesday, 15th of April, subject to any corrections, of which I have none.
Thank you. Chair has moved receipt of those minutes. Is there anyone opposed? No one opposed. Thank you. That's carried. We begin at the item at 1.1, list of accounts paid for February 2025. The recommendation on page 55. Page 56, 1.2, statement of financial activity, February 2025. And the recommendation comes on page 61. We do need an absolute majority for this one, so Chair, are you prepared to move?
So moved.
Chair has moved this item. Is there anyone opposed? No one opposed. Thank you. That's carried. Page 62, 1.3, notice of intention to impose differential rates for 2025, with the recommendation coming on page 75. Councillor Peter.
Madam, I'm not opposing the motion, but I am voting against the motions because the intention is to provide a public notice, and I'm not opposing the intention of notice, but I'm not happy with supporting the content of the report. So I am voting against the item, not moving any amendments.
Okay. Right then, so I will put it to the vote then. Yep. So what I'll do is I'll ask the Chair to move the item. Where are you, Chair? There.
I know I'm easy to miss. Yes, I will move that item, please.
So that we record a vote on it,
Sure.
that's all.
Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Mosey. Is there anyone opposed? Yes, there is someone opposed. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Busby, for seconding. Councillor Mosey, would you like to speak?
No, thank you.
Councillor Busby, would you like to speak? Thank you. Councillor Peter, you've kind of already spoken, but would you like to speak? Thank you. I'll put that to the vote then. All those in favour? All those against? Okay, I ceased counting, so... And the vote was carried 8-6. Thank you, everyone. We have now page 76, 2.1, the Department of Local Government and something or other. Discussion paper, local government reforms.
Mayor, I would like to declare an interest of impartiality in respect to this item, given it deals with CEO KPIs, and I would like to leave the room and ask the Executive Director of Corporate Services to take the chair.
Thank you very much. councillors, we have the item 2.1, local government reforms, with the recommendation coming on page 87. I will ask for a mover for this one so that we can get it voted on before the CEO comes back in.
Yes, could I please move that item?
Thank you. Councillor Mosey has moved. Is there anyone opposed? No one opposed. Thank you. That's carried. And we can invite the CEO back in. Thank you. We will now move to page 88, 2.2, 2024 annual general meeting of electors on the 26th of March, 2025, with the recommendation coming on pages 97, 98 and 99. Page 100, 3.1, rates exemption applications. For charitable purposes, residential and crisis accommodation. This one did have a confidential attachment. Does anyone need to refer to the confidential attachment? You do?
Yep.
Yep, okay. I'll move it to the end of the agenda then. Thank you. That brings us to the end of this particular agenda. Is the Chair prepared to move all those items which have not already been dealt with?
So moved.
Thank you. Chair has moved. Anyone opposed? No one opposed. Thank you. That's carried. That takes us to the Chief Executive Officer's report of the 28th of April 2025. Could I have someone move receipt of that report, please? Councillor Peter, thank you. Is there anyone opposed? If no one's opposed, thank you. That's carried. We move now to page 105, 1.1, amended draft policy for homelessness. Councillor Hetherington, you're on your feet. You have the mic.
I am. Thank you, Mayor. I'd actually like to move an alternative motion for this item, which will come up hopefully on the screen. Just a couple of reasonably simple, I guess, changes, but there to move the fourth dot point from section applying to the whole of city to section applying to the place. They're camping within 200 metres of a children's playground. And number two, to add the words following the issue of a warning in the start of the section applying to the place and the section applying to the whole of the city. So if I can move that. And yeah, I can speak into it when needed.
Thank you. So that you're moving an amendment.
Yes.
So it's
An
okay. It's
amendment,
not
sorry.
a new motion altogether.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone opposed to these amendments? Councillor Mosey, you're opposed. Do I have a seconder then? Thank you, Councillor Busby. Councillor Hetherington, would you like to speak?
Thank you. Yes. Essentially, what this allows us, and I'll
Hang on,
bring-
I'm just going to stop you there. The CEO says it is a whole new motion.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Okay.
I want to just bring to councillors' attention, as I'm sure everybody has read this policy, we've been over it. The Homelessness Working Group and SOHAG have met twice now as a joint group. The Homelessness Working Group have also met on a couple of occasions separately. But I just want to bring to the attention of councillors a couple of words, a couple of paragraphs in that policy that says the City of Armidale will take a compassionate approach to the issue of primary homelessness, and where it says the city staff and its contractors who interact with people experiencing primary homelessness will do so with an attitude of empathy and a disposition to assist. These changes here essentially allow people who are unaware of our policy and unaware of the rules, to be given a chance, so we can inform them that you're in the wrong spot at this point. So we're going to issue them with that information, issue them with a warning that says you need to move on. And it just allows that compassionate approach, I think. So, Mayor, if I could, I think I would ask people to support. Homelessness is a difficult topic within our community, and I know that there's a lot of sort of issues, I suppose, that each of us as councillors are dealing with at different times, and I want to acknowledge that for some of us it is a more heightened issue, I suppose, within our wards. But I think this just allows us to consider that compassionate approach by allowing a warning and also moving that fourth dot point. So I would ask for people's support with that.
Thank you, Councillor Hetherington. I was just working out counting dot points. So we had someone to speak. Who was the seconder for this part? Councillor Busby, would you like to speak? Councillor Mosey, you opposed. Would you like to speak?
Yes, I would, please. Can I also foreshadow that I also would like to make a change if this is unsuccessful? So I'll have a similar change, I guess, to Councillor Hetherington in terms of a couple of changes to where the dot points are located. But in terms of the one in front of us, the reason I opposed is because I think the issuing of the prohibition notice is the warning, and then us involving the police in terms of the move on is then actually enforcing it. So I don't think the extra step of the warning is enough. I don't think that sends a loud enough message to our community that is frankly pretty sick of the, I guess, the fact that they can't use their, beloved parks and facilities because they've been overrun by homeless people. I don't think this sends a strong enough message. I think the compassionate approach is all the other things that we talk about that we do in this policy and absolutely should continue to do, including strongly advocating to the state government to do more in this space because it really is up to them. And in terms of moving the within 200 metres of children's playground, I think that should stay where it currently is. I think the risk we do there if we simply have a prohibition notice of that place is that they move within 200 metres of a different playground. So I think leaving it where it is the sensible approach.
Thank you, Councillor Mosey. Could I ask if anyone would like to speak for the motion?
Could I ask a question?
Certainly.
This one, yeah. So, according to the new amended policy, is there any suitable policy for a suitable place for homeless people? Stay overnight. Like sanitary facilities available nearby, and 200 meters away from playground, etc. Is there any suitable places within city? Because when we move the people, the homeless people, is there any another suitable places we can move in?
I believe that's why people are homeless, because there are no suitable places. So some are more unsuitable than others, according to our policy. So if you mean a caravan park or a roof over their head, then I would suggest that there isn't. That's why people are homeless. Is that what you mean?
I was asking, Mayor, where will they move in? Like when we found the people in a park or somewhere, because, they are also humans, so that we need to move them somewhere. It's a toilet facilities are there, somewhere at least a roof is there.
It sounds a little bit like you're starting to engage in debate, which you'll be able to do. So I'm just, wary of allowing you to continue too much, given that you asking a question.
Okay.
Through you, Mayor, as I understand your question, Councillor Joy, it's have we mapped the city to put 200-metre radiuses around, you know, every childcare centre and every primary school, and also, you know, how that relates to toilets. We haven't done that work to identify, is there then a location where all the criteria could be met? We have not mapped that on our GIS system.
But I think still it's not necessary that place a toilet facility, you know. That was I was thinking. A place 200 meters away from playground, primary school, and also where there is a toilet facility for them.
That is correct. So the difficulty in terms of that particular criteria is that most of our public toilet provision in parks is where we have playgrounds.
So we're at, who's got their mic on? You. Okay, so where are we up to? We're up to 4 against. I can't remember. 4. Is anyone to speak for the motion? Councillor Joy was asking questions. So would you like to speak for a question? Yep.
A question, if I may. I think what Councillor Joy was alluding to was the fact that during the bushfires we had in 2000, a bit later than that, we opened up one of our recreation centres and we offered accommodation to a lot of people there for a few weeks. He's probably wondering if we can do that again on a spasmodic time schedule, 1 or 2 nights a week for a couple of months, especially during this wet season coming up, as a matter of compassion.
Okay, I'm not sure whether that was a question. I'll just hand over to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. That isn't a question that was considered in the development of the policy. Certainly the state government, with respect to their homelessness strategy, have funds and objectives related to the provision of accommodation for homeless, but it's not a service that has traditionally been one that local governments such as the city have provided, and would be a very different consideration for council to go through, and would need a further report, Councillor Sargison.
So I'll return to anyone to speak for the motion. Anyone to speak against the motion? Councillor Keogh.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, so a couple of things. I guess this policy has been debated, well not debated, discussed numerous times, as noted by Councillor Hetherington, with joint discussion meetings of SOHAG and the Homelessness Committee. And this policy, for 99% of it, was approved by all of those members there present, which is over half of council. So I'm quite surprised that there are amendments being suggested when everyone there in that room, 8 councillors, were supportive of what was presented there. I'm against this because I don't think that this thing should be moved, and also there is something that was added that wasn't agreed to by the 8 councillors that's on the bottom of page 3 or the bottom of page 119, depending on where you're looking on for the report. So that would be why I'm against this, bearing in mind that we have, of course, not really, we've agreed to this to a large extent already. There's been countless discussions surrounding that. I would foreshadow that we would go back to the original. Actually, no, I wouldn't foreshadow because I'm still against what's currently there anyway. So yeah, I'm against the policy as it stands and what the current proposal is from Councillor Hetherington for a range of reasons.
Thank you, Councillor Keogh. Is there anyone to speak for the motion? Councillor Stoneham.
I'm speaking for this motion because at the meeting that we held with SOAG and the Homelessness Working Group, we did come to some reasonable agreement about what would happen with the motion or the wording of the motion. However, it's since come to light that certain parts of this are unworkable from our city officer's point of view, and in fact we have the gentleman, where is he? What is your title, sir? Officer in charge of the Armadale Police Station here, because they have raised concerns about the actual implementation of this policy. Councillor Hetherington has taken upon himself to reword certain aspects of the policy to make sure that they are indeed workable for our local police station as well as our officers. If this recommendation fails, I would like to foreshadow that I will put forward an alternative recommendation which follows this one, with the added third point that I would like the words antisocial removed from the policy as it is currently written. But I hope everybody will support Councillor Hetherington's recommendations and amendments, as this gives us a workable policy that our officers and our local police officers can implement.
Thank you, Councillor Stoneham. Is there anyone to speak against the motion? If not, I might just make a couple of comments. I feel as if the changes to the motion have been are a reasonable and pragmatic approach to an amendment to the homelessness policy, which gives the opportunity to people who are camping or sleeping rough within 200 metres of a playground, who are not familiar with our policy, to be given a warning in the first instance and the opportunity to move. If they do so, then it's not our problem. They move away. If they choose to remain within 200 metres of a playground, should they be removed and prohibited from coming into the city of Armadale for some period of time, perhaps forever? I think that's a rather draconian approach to take when the people might never have even known that was a policy of the city of Armadale. There's no signs telling people that. So I think it's reasonable to give people, firstly, the warning, and then if they don't abide by the warning, then perhaps ban them or prohibit them from the place, not from the whole of the city of Armadale. So with that, I would like to hand back to Councillor Hetherington to wrap up.
Beautiful, thank you, Mayor. I do just want to highlight, I think the wording that Councillor Stoneham just used, that this is a workable policy and a workable outcome that allows both us as the city and the police to help with this issue that is within the city. It's worth noting that we do warn people for a number of things across the city. If there is rubbish left lying around on somebody's verge, we will send them a warning. We don't just automatically go in there with bulldozers and throw all their rubbish in the bin. We issue warnings on a regular basis for a number of things, and I think this is one instance where we should be doing just that. Also worth highlighting, I know Councillor Keogh did mention that at SOHAG we had over half of our councillors at SOHAG and the working group. However, that is not all of our councillors. So there are councillors here tonight who weren't a part of those conversations, who weren't a part of weren't able to give input into getting to this point. And so I think, you know, there's been some conversations that have happened in the last little while. Those conversations have raised points that tonight warrant this change. So thank you.
Thank Thank you, Councillor Hetherington. I will put it to the vote. We have the recommendation there with some changes to the policy. All those in favour? All those against? Thank you. The motion is one. Thank you. It's carried. That takes us, thank you, councillors. We will now go to the next part of this. 1.2, Councillors' Information Bulletin, issue number 5 of 2025. Could I have someone move that we acknowledge receipt of issue 5 of 2025 of the Information Bulletin? Councillor Peter has moved that recommendation. Is there anyone opposed? No one opposed. Thank you. That's carried. Takes us back to the beginning of the agenda, where we come to motions of which previous notice have been given. 11.1, Polyphagus shot hole borer at the Rolly Stone Green Waste site. We have a comment from Dr. Wallinga and an officer comment and a recommendation on page to be considered. There is a recommendation there that Council requests a report on new procedures, etc., etc. Councillor Wallinga, are you happy with that recommendation and would you like to move it?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Councillor Wallinga has moved that recommendation. Is there anyone opposed?
Isn't this a confidential item?
No.
Oh, well, I'd like to speak to the confidential item part of this, so can we hold off the vote, please?
Yep, sure. Okay, we'll deal with this in the confidential items as well. So then we come to urgent business approved by the person presiding or by decision. There isn't any. Matters for referral to standing committees without discussion.
Yep, thanks, Chair. I have 3. Business development for Kelmscott to Development Services, traffic light advocacy positions to Development Services, and heritage signage to Tech Services. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Keogh. Councillor Peter.
Yeah. Rate exemptions to the Corporate Service Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further?
Corner of Brookton Highway and Hill Street to Tech Services.
Thank you. Are there any more? I hesitate to ask. Okay, thanks, councillors. Matters referring confidential requirement. We do have some matters there, so could I ask that someone move that we go behind closed doors? Thank you. Councillor Wallinga has moved that we go behind closed doors. Anyone opposed? No one opposed? Thank you. That's carried. Live streaming will cease now for members of the public. However, we will return when we've made our decisions on the confidential items, and then we'll close the meeting. Thank you. So, councillors, we'll be coming back to live stream very shortly. Thank you, everyone. We're back up on live stream, so welcome back everyone who's hung in there for the end. That does bring us to closure. So we've dealt with the confidential matters, and we come to closure at, what is the time? 8:28. Thank you very much for your attendance, councillors.